Why is this vehicle here one of the most sold cars in Europe? This is the new generation of the Reno Klio. Truly a bestseller, and we're going to find out how has it changed in exterior, obviously, but also in the interior and while driving. How good is it? I'm Thomas. This is Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with this small Jaguar. I call it with the Premier because here this really pronounced front hood looks really sporty. I think it's a stunning look. This is the Esprit Alpine trim level, and you can see here this is the dark chrome Renault front logo. Then here the other trim level, the Techno, would have like a bluish logo then here in this case. New daytime running light then here in the lower part. It also looks pretty spectacular. And here, look at that, how the main headlamp unit is cut out like this in a red color then here for you today. And small dimensions is here at 4 meters and 12 or 162 inches. A little bit longer than before. Wheels from 16 to 18 inch. These are the new largest 18-inch wheels. We'll also check out the comfort very soon. This then here the Esprit Alpine trim logo. It's the highest spec. Also then here with the contrasting mirror caps and also black frames around the window. And here you can see a nice design trick. They don't have a frame outline here in the lower part, and that makes this this really more sculptural, so to speak. Also very sporty here, how the rear doors are attached in here with the handle. So design-wise, really one of my favorite small cars right now. What do you think about that? Very modern design for the tail lamps here as well. Always a front grille based platform, but here this one says E-Tech Hybrid because we're driving the new hybrid engine here for you today. Soon more about the engine lineup, but they especially upgraded this very one and supposed to bring you also very good fuel efficiency. Of course, also a little bit higher in the entry price. We're soon also going to talk about the prices and so on. So visually, I think they really hit it very well. I really like it. What about you? Tell me in the comments. Another important aspect is also that they really focus on sustainability now. So there are many recycling parts for this vehicle. Also the wheels here, especially in the Esprit Alpine trim, these aluminum wheels are from 50% recycled aluminum. And I can tell you, especially aluminum production is highly, energy intensive. So this, really makes it full circle. They really pay attention to sustainability now. I think it's also a good approach. We'll find more about these deals out also in the interior very soon. The typical Renault keycard. Oh, look at that. In the color of the paint from the background. That's a nice idea, right? So that's a surprise. Why not? Then the door closing sounds. Actually not too bad. Also here. Yeah, it's actually good door closing sounds here. And once again, you can see here no frames then in the lower part. And of course, if you have not subscribed yet, then please do so you won't miss any of the new reveals and interesting driving reviews. Thank you everyone for the support, for a subscription, like and comment. That always helps us. So keep going with that. Now back to the interior. Inside of the doors, this one here is all hard pack. However, it is a nice structure here. But yeah, it's not a soft one. However, here that's actually quite nice. You have the integration of the ambient light here, and Esprit Alpine has some Alcantara inserts together with contrast stitching. The Techno trim, for example, would have then fabric here. Then we have the window levers with some galvanization on top. Why not? Hard pack then here at the inside of the doors. Alpine entry badge in the lower part, and also really nice floor mats here with the blue Alpine or Esprit Alpine logo with blue contour stitches around. Animal free steering wheel from the outside has a really great quality. It feels even softer than the so far materials. Contour stitching on the inside and some Alcantara inserts also on the steering wheel. And look at that here with this decor element on the left side. They have a color transition, from right to left or left to right is also interesting. Then the Esprit Alpine seats, they are really sporty, good shoulder support, also more Alcantara inserts again. And then here, inspired by some, maybe like a gear, for example, here with the high-grade leather red. That looks really cool. The fabric on the inside, I would have preferred maybe a little bit different material, or maybe also full Alcantara. Or am I having, too high expectations there? Tell me in the comments. Then here, headroom with 189, 6'2". There's still some headroom left. Steering wheel is variable adjustable, front, back, top, and so on. And you have so many columns around the steering. for indicators and lights, then here for the gear putting in for the automatic gearbox also, then wipers, and then there's also the traditional from the sound. I'll check it out from the other side very, very soon. And the seating itself, these sports is actually quite comfortable. Here, pump it up, y'all. Manual control, so even as a tall adult you find enough space, also a decent seating position. It's still a small car, it's no SUV. They can see the angle of my knees. That's a natural thing, however, then for this segment. And important here still from this side here, hitting this button twice goes for the My Person mode. Then you can activate or deactivate annoying systems from the car, like the beeping stuff, which is mandatory by law. Cockpit of the new Reno Klio in the Esprit Alpine here with nice Alcantara inserts. So in the techno trim that would be a fabric. Yeah, I think this is more lovely. And here once again you have this color transition also on the right side. That looks really spectacular. Or would it be too much for you? Tell me in the comments. Hardback here on the top dashboard. And then you always have this infotainment unit with 10-inch on the right and 10-inch on the left. It's always standard, not trim dependent. My favorite thing is here the climate unit. Cold or warm, and also for the fan speed, easy to reach. You can do that while driving without even looking at it. That's how it's supposed to be. And this is all Google built in. So you have native Google Maps support, and soon more deals to that. And here you can see all the column selection. For example, here, the classic Renault thing, and that you can skip music title, louder, or, for the volume and so on. And then here for the shifting. And in the lower middle console, let's start with 2 USB-C chargers in the front, inductive charging pad underneath, not ventilated though. This is then a spot then for your key fob. And here, especially for this trim level, you have this leatherette cover. You can open it like this, then you have cup holders. They are not really adaptive though. Or you can also, because it's magnetic, fold it in different ways. Yeah, that stays open like that. Not sure if it's the most ideal solution. It looks elegant when it's closed. Let's take it that way. And then here, electric handbrake, and this is also softened up for your elbow a little bit. Could maybe be a little bit softer, and more space underneath. And the cockpit over here with still some physical interface at the steering wheel. It's like part so, part so. This is the multi-sense button. So here in the instruments, you can go through different driving modes. For example, in the sport mode, everything goes fully red. However, there's now the new mode called Smart, and then it automatically switches the mode, and I'll explain you more about that while driving. This is again how you put in the gears. And then here, main infotainment unit, as I said, native Google Maps support, so that's actually a cool thing. And here, for example, you can activate the heated steering wheel as well, but you also have like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, so the usual smartphone integration. And this looks actually quite fancy, doesn't it? Then rear seats, hardback inside of the doors, nothing special right there. And then here we have ISOFIX on the outsides each. There we go. And it stays also in place. You just need to fold up. You can also house a third person right here. Here, by the way, these accentuations are not on the middle seat belt. You just have them on the outside seat belts here. Here, these blue contours. But I think that was even the same reason in the Porsche Macan GTS with the red accentuations, right? I think one of you also discovered that. And then, well, as for the space here, small car segment, when I'm driving as a tall adult, it's hard to fit for me behind then here, behind the driver's seats, but it would still work when I put my knees maybe right here or something. Headroom is still fitting like this with 189 6'2", and then we also have these small lamps here in that ceiling. So yeah, that's what you have of space. I think you can live with that, considering the exterior length. Let's take a look at the trunk or the boot. By the way, I always like to test also the closing sounds here, especially when you can hammer it. It sounds really cool actually, so because this one is like the manual. Then 390 liters for the pure petrol one, or 310 liters for the hybrid, because it's not that deep. However, this loading still here is 4 centimeters or 2 inches lower, that you can easier get things in and out. This one also fits under the cover easily, no problem. Then here we have 1 meter of 40 inches in width. The normal length here is about 26 inches or like 65 centimeters. And then I already folded 2/3. It's not so easy to do. You have to go around, of course. And then to the seats, we have about 1 meters and 40 or 55 inches. And then we have the height missing. For that, I need to unscrew this one here. like this. For the cover here, you have to pull actually. So yeah, that's easier than it looks like. And then here we have about 30 inches or 75 centimeters in height. That's actually quite decent still, although we have the hybrid here. And then underneath, because there we go, there's the battery. There we go. Yeah, but there's nothing more underneath. Nice dampening though, but still I think for a small car, that's fine. Under the hood, we have now here the updated 1.8 liter four-cylinder hybrid, 158 horsepower, 8.3 seconds in the acceleration figure, and also the battery capacity is now a little bit higher at 1.4 kilowatt hours, so you will have a lot of electric moments. On the entry-level side, there's the 1.2 liter three-cylinder engine, without the hybrid, 115 horsepower. That one also manual or automatic. This one always automatic. And for example, in Turkey, France, Italy, Spain, you will also get the LPG version. Right, let's start driving the all-new Reno Klio. And we're starting with the hybrid engine, the new hybrid engine, 1.8 liter, 158 horsepower. And they also made the battery a little bit larger, so we can have the more electric moments. And what's also new is this so-called smart driving mode. So far you could switch them between the comfort, eco, sport. And here now, smart mode basically chooses the driving mode for you. So as long as I'm driving really slowly and try to be more efficient and so on, it's rather keeping it in the eco mode. So now it says smart eco, but we're soon going to test it when I'm hitting the throttle a little bit harder. Then it will actually switch to the sport mode. And yeah, let's see how that works. Here now, EV says also here in the instruments. At the moment, the engine is shut off. Let's see if the police is coming in, or ambulance or something. So we have no local emissions then at this moment, and it's also more silent. Yeah, next to that ambulance siren. Then also when I'm driving just slowly here, stays in the electric mode from this hybrid. This is how the consumption should be better at the end of the day. We'll tell later more about that, what we had here with our whole test round and so on. And let's see, now we're heading to the motorway. Steering is in this eco mode pretty light. There's no like dead zone, so there's always something happening, but it's really easy and light to steer, definitely. It's a little bit tighter than when you go to the sport mode, for example. This one here is of course more powerful with 8.3 seconds in the acceleration figure in comparison to the base petrol engine. So if you need that extra power, plus you want the consumption advantage, that might be something. Then again, the entry price is higher here for the hybrid. Soon more about the prices. And as I said earlier, LPG engines also for Turkey, Italy, France, Poland, and Spain. So that might be another alternative. Then we don't have that in Germany, at least not yet. Then we have blind spot monitor here. We're going onto the motorway. There's this triangle here in the side mirror, helpful system. Other than that, this speed warning chime I have deactivated already with this button here, this My Perso mode. So press it twice and then it's deactivated. You can set what you want to deactivate with this My Perso mode, but that's a easy and practical thing to do. We have the 18-inch wheels mounted here, the biggest ones that are available for the new Clio. And so far, also when we were just driving to this pothole here, looks actually quite fine. So it's not that it gets too rough. Of course, it's still here small car segment, so there's not too much space for a tall person like me in the front. But since the console here is left quite low, I don't have any problem with my knee or something like that. Now we're at about 60 kilometers an hour. We're slightly picking up speed. Once again, electric mode for this hybrid here, and it's keeping it still in the eco mode. And this is also the goal of this adaptive driving mode, that it's rather kept in the eco mode, because most of the time you probably won't need the harsh acceleration. Of course, when you put it in sport mode yourself first, it will be quicker to respond. But let's see how quick the system does respond. If we go like some 60 to 80 here now, and see what the driving mode does. What we felt in the acceleration is that...
Smart sport.
Ah, it did?
Yeah.
Did it switch exactly like in the moment I accelerated?
Yeah.
Ah, because I was waiting like for the whole change of the color and so on.
Now it's eco.
Ah, now it's Smart Echo again. Yeah, it's just like, I'm not sure if you can see it on this camera, if the steering wheel is blocking it. Interesting. So, but it keeps basically the color scheme, but if I would intentionally switch here, then it also switches the whole color scheme. That's probably like the reason behind it. So I was expecting this, but this is now like the true sport mode, pre-selected. Yeah, but why not? I mean, this smart mode is very interesting. Let's see, let's try it again. Yeah, indeed, it does. Yeah. So the moment I hit the throttle, it switches from eco to sport. So Nia is already holding on tight during the acceleration. Yeah, it was really interesting because what we directly feel is that you first get some electric boost with this hybrid, and then the combustion engine sets in. And this gives you also this acceleration advantage, you know, and they are always playing together back and forth. So far, I would say, for a small car, it's also not too loud in here. Let's see if we can get up to some higher speeds, that we can tell you more about that. Here in cornering, car feels pretty precise to steer it around as well. Let's see also the brake response. I mean, we have recuperation here, but you don't really feel that in a negative way. And also here, when you go in the corner, you feel that short wheelbase, really small dimensions. And of course, even though it has a hybrid system, it's still not a heavy vehicle. Pretty light car, and that is always fun to drive, definitely. You also sit relatively low. It's not this always like you have more and more SUVs and so on, but this one here then rather low, typical small car segment, and that also makes up for this driving fun. Look at that here. Yeah, this is really nice to do some lane changes and so on. And here about 90 kilometers an hour, so almost 60 miles an hour, like 55 miles an hour. I think it's reasonably silent from the rolling noise and the wind noise and so on. So this is also something they have been working on. And going downhill, once again, using the hybrid engine, we are now once again in the EV mode. And I'm really looking forward to like what final consumption we will have at the end of our test drive then with this one. The seats are pretty sporty. They also hold you tight, even in the corners. So they have a lot of elements here which remind maybe at higher segment vehicles, but still you do feel the segment then overall, but that's actually fine. This is such a popular car in whole Europe, as I said, in some month, one of the most sold cars. Sometimes it's a Dacia Sandero then again, and they are of course also related. So because this vehicle can do a lot, it's not that large, still already has decent space, and it really drives very nicely, you know, so good fun drive. To me, here in the space mode, the steering is a little bit too light. That's maybe a matter of preference. What would you prefer? Here also pretty smooth. When going back to the lane changes again, and the hybrid system here, the setup is also something they worked on. The whole transitions, you know, when the engine hops on and off again, this is now way smoother. So sometimes you couldn't really tell what's happening, what the car is doing, and it's just doing that for you automatically, and that's actually it. The only time when you really feel it is really like when you floor it out, because then, you know, the engine is quite audible. So Leah's feeling here in this one seems relaxed. Yeah. It's nice. So yeah, I mean, also has a cool design on the exterior. So we now really put together a good package then here, and especially with the hybrid drivetrain, it gets a little bit more sophistication because you also have this calmness on the interior, using a lot of the electric moments then always, and then together with the improved noise insulation and some of the interior stuff and so on. You also see here these color nuances, these shades in these special decor elements in the Esprit Alpine. And I also like all the Alcantara accentuations right here that would be in fabric in the Techno trim. Oh yes, very nice remark from Leah here, like a tactile remark from Leah. Here the Alcantara at the steering wheel is also nice insert, so we like that. Oh, it looks interesting here. We
That's
like
the Alcantara factory there.
Ah, yeah, it's not the Alcantara factory because we've been there. It's in Italy, but this
funny,
one, this one is the town of probably it's an Alcantara then.
Alcantara.
I'm not sure if our Portuguese viewers can say yes. So like, what's the? Oh, let's hear the parking beeper. No, that's a sound, but Oh, that's pretty annoying. Can I somehow deactivate it?
No.
I think it must be possible. Ah, thank you. Here. Ah, this one.
Okay.
Ah. This is actually, you know, maybe pretty quick, maybe too quick reaction on what the car is doing here in parking. Yeah, we had that quite some time that the Reno and the Dacia, so from the group, the parking sound beepings are really stressful. So you can adjust something of that also in the menu. I would tend to like lower the volume there, definitely. But here, once again, moments like these, you have like this calm down atmosphere with the hybrid. So this is actually what's really good for. I mean, this is a city vehicle. And for that, a hybrid, we see it also from the Toyota example, a hybrid really makes sense because when you have a lot of city traffic, which you will definitely have here with this vehicle, then you can get actually the most out of it and all the advantages, the fuel savings of this drivetrain and so on. And to me, the best thing about this new generation is really how smooth it is actually driving, especially with the hybrid drivetrain. So yeah, once again, consider that the entry price will be higher. Then again, you might have some fuel savings long term, of course. And it really adds this kind of sophistication, especially when you're driving in the... I mean, sometimes we can even think, hey, wait a minute, is it like an all-electric one? And also from the... they have like this special transmission set. It's very, very smooth. So don't feel any like transition between the gears or something like that. Only once again when you really floor it. And suspension, I'm really happy with it. So let's see, here's like this dip. The car's not shaking up and it's not too uncomfortable, although we have the 18-inch wheels here. So I think they also found a very good neutral setup here, like a setup which works in different everyday driving situations. Yeah, so if you take a look like at a maybe like a booklet of how to do a small car and what you need from a small car in this very segment, I think they tick a lot of boxes here, definitely. And let's get to some higher speeds here on the motorway and also testing the assistant systems. So we can set it here at the steering wheel, for example, the active assist. So that is then not only keeping a distance to the car in front of us, but also keeping the car actively in the lane. Let's see how the car is doing that. If there are like smooth corrections on the steering or if it's maybe nervous or something like that. But so far, here keeping it quite well, and soon this motorway will also make some slight bends and also adjust the speeds here, because here we can drive up to 120 kilometers an hour in Portugal today, and that is actually very smooth how the car is steering now, following the lane. That's actually quite good, and it's not too loud in here, right?
No.
120 kilometers an
yeah.
hour, like 70 miles an hour. I think that's
It's a little bit windy today.
actually quite decent. Yeah, it's quite windy today, but we don't feel too much from that on the inside. So here it's performing quite well. Then let's also cancel the cruise control again, which is doing a decent job. And here lane change at 120. Nice controlled feeling over the vehicle, as I said earlier. So good balance here from the suspension. Indeed. I mean, the hybrid is specially optimized, of course, for the city and so on. So you won't have that much fuel savings on, you know, very, very high speed and so on. However, this one still, in comparison to the small one, it has the higher displacement. So it will also then probably run at lower RPM. That will, of course, also help then. But it's also doing quite well on higher speeds on the motorway. That's all. Thank you so much. I hate that. Why would you? Yeah. You know these situations when the guys in front of you just use the fluid? I mean, sometimes there can be some situations where it has to be. Oh, it's like the R5 in black looks quite stunning, right?
Yeah.
Like in completely black. That's
Little
nice.
Batmobile.
Little Batmobile, yeah, indeed. So I'm positively surprised how good it's also performing on the motorway. You know, by the way, yeah, going uphill, still feel it's not the most performant engine. However, I haven't used the pin down, so even in this situation, when I pin it, then there would be more things going, and you also directly switch again to the sport mode here in this smart automatic mode. So interesting innovation right here. So I'm also happy how it behaves here on the motorway. Fuel economy works quite well, gotta say that. You have to differentiate between city use only, where you can more stress the hybrid, so then you can only use some 4 liters and more kilometers, like the official figure almost. And when you go motorway, 120 kilometers now, it's more like 6 liters and more kilometers. And the overall average then is, with everything combined, a little bit less than 5 liters on more kilometers. So you get some 50 mpg US and 60 mpg UK. So overall, very decent. Prices starts at about 20,000 euros, like in the German prices. If you go for the hybrid, starts 24,000 euros. And if you go for a full spec vehicle like it is here, then you're moving towards a little bit under 30,000 euros. Of course, it's not then cheap anymore, but considering other average car prices, it's still more to the affordable side than many other cars, and it really delivers. I think it's one of the most stunning small cars now from the exterior design. The interior has also lovely details, and it drives very well. And especially here with the new hybrid powertrain, I think it has a higher level of sophistication, especially here for this small car segment. So I really have to say it ticks a lot of the boxes what you think or what you expect from small cars, and especially then here in the higher trim even goes a little bit above that. And I think this will also account for the, again, success for this vehicle, because again, not many cars are so affordable anymore. Prices are going higher and higher. So I really like that there's also still a choice where you don't pay too much money, but you already get a stunning car from the exterior, and also which drives very well. What do you think? Tell me your opinion in the comments. And now it's time to check out some competitors.